Hey everyone, my name is Eva and my presentation is on marketing little known sports. So I wanted to start off with some information on the sports industry, and I specifically focused on the US for this. But this is one of the largest entertainment industries worldwide, and at this point it's really kind of become a normal part of our daily lives. So in 2018, the sports industry in the US had a market value of about $71 billion, according to Statistica. And this number actually continues to grow each year. And according to an article on Spond, the top three most popular sports in the United States are American football, basketball, and baseball. These dominate the sports industry and they each have massive fan bases. I'm sure everyone here has a favorite team for at least one of those three. And you can see the logos of the Atlanta teams I put for these top three sports. This is a good example I found of a lesser known sport that is kind of interesting. So it was created in 2005 and it was actually inspired by Quidditch from the Harry Potter series. It actually used to be called that until 2022. They changed the name in order to distance themselves from the author, J.K. Rowling, as well as for trademark reasons, according to an article on US Quadball. And while this sport isn't very well known, it has been slowly gaining some popularity over the years. The same article explains that quadball is now played in at least 40 different countries and has about 600 teams. So lesser known sports face a pretty big problem that the more popular sports don't face in the sports industry, and that is a smaller fan base. According to an article on GWI, about 65% of sports fans in the US follow American football, while ice hockey is only at a 24% following. Now, ice hockey is still a pretty popular sport in the United States, but it is much smaller compared to football. So now imagine the percentage for the smaller, less known sports like quadball. There isn't really any statistics for the fan base of lesser known sports because of how small they are. This problem can have negative consequences when it comes to marketing a lesser known sport. The two marketing issues that I'm going to talk about in the next two slides are about finances and media coverage. One issue that a smaller fan base can lead to is financial constraints. Due to a smaller fan base, it can be hard to make the money needed for a lesser known sports team to even just stay afloat. For example, they may not have the same revenue as more popular sports from ticket or merchandise sales. Without the proper finances, smaller known sports teams cannot pay for materials they might need. This could include training facilities, equipment, and a lot more. Even hosting a competition or a game can be a costly struggle for lesser known sports teams. The second issue that comes from having a small fan base is a lack of media coverage. An article on AS states that sports media holds a significant power in defining which sports we pay attention to and which athletes become household names. So essentially, lesser known sports struggle to generate awareness without similar media coverage of the more popular sports. These popular sports saturate mainstream media. The article even talks about how women's sports struggle to gain attention in the media. So the general public has little to no access to some lesser known sports, so of course there will be a significant struggle to grow a fan base. Essentially, the two issues from the previous slides boil down to lesser known sports having to constantly compete with not only each other, but with more popular sports in order to stand out. In the next three slides, I talk about how you can use the 4 C's of marketing to effectively market little-known sports. For content, you would want to make the sport unique in some way and then use that uniqueness to your advantage. This will leave the public asking questions about the sport, like what it is, what are the rules, and so on. Using the example of quadball, when it was first called Quidditch, it left people really confused because when you think of it, you think of people flying on brooms and it just doesn't make sense. So that left a lasting impression on people. It is also important to market with a very small budget. You could make a social media profile or a website for the lesser known sports team. This would be a good way to introduce team members, the logo, and the overall personality of the sports team. You really want to focus on fan engagement because this will not only make your fan base more loyal, but it will bring in more of a fan base. And doing this successfully will give you leverage against other more popular sports teams. I decided to combine conduit and consumption into one slide because I think it will be easier to explain. So it's important to start slowly with this at first because obviously a lesser known sports game can't be held in a fancy stadium with expensive ticket prices like a popular football team can do. For example, you could use a team website or social media to sell cheaper tickets, maybe starting at like $5. And then you could provide an address for those who buy the tickets of where the competition will be. Over time, you can increase the price of tickets as more people start wanting to come to the games or the competitions. In addition, you could also live stream the game on the team's website for free at first. Then, as you gain popularity, make it a subscription. So people have to pay every month to be able to watch the games. For the last of the 4 C's, convergence, you really want to use everything available to you to attract more of a fan base. Whether it be using multiple social media platforms, a team website, streaming services, whatever you have available, make sure you are creative with it. People love uniqueness. It just really attracts people. And as you slowly gain more popularity, you can start focusing on marketing to other countries as well. To conclude, the issue of gaining a larger fan base is a major problem for sports teams, especially with the financial constraints and lack of media coverage it causes. Although facing many obstacles, any sports team can overcome this if they show dedication not only to people who are already fans, but to potential fans. I found a quote I really liked from Jock Stein. He was a British soccer player. He said, "Football without fans is nothing."